Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation, and you may be surprised with what you're looking at right now. It is again the basic Bugo, the same Bugo that we've been messing with for the past few videos, or at least previous one and some other ones in the past. What we're going to be doing today is another Bugo challenge, not really challenge, but somebody in the Discord suggested that we give the Bugo 1,000 horsepower, and I said, let's do it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. In order to accomplish this, we're definitely going to have to swap the engine. So we're going to make a new engine, and we're going to have to figure out what kind of engine we can put in the Bugo that will actually make 1,000 horsepower. Now, there will be no expense spared in this, and we're going to try whatever we can to get up to this amount. We do have a couple things working against us. The Bugo is permanently front-wheel drive from what I can tell. You'll see that in a bit. And it's also 1980, so it's going to be a challenge to get something within the small engine bay that the Bugo has and get it with enough horsepower in the 80s without things like direct injection and some of the newer technologies available to us. So enough talking, let's get going on this. Now my hope was to be able to fit a V6 into it, but again we're gonna go no expense spared on this one. We're just going to try, immediately it does not fit, so we can't do a 3-liter V6. We can do a 2.7 liter V6. Okay. Is that going to be enough though? That's the big issue here. Is this going to be enough to we can raise the stroke as well, but we somehow need to get 1,000 horsepower out of this. My hope is the V6 will do it. If not, we can try V8, but unfortunately as we get more cylinders, we're not going to be able to get as much displacement, so yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll try with the first engine here, a 3.5 liter, that's basically a 3.6 liter V6 aluminum block. We'll go dual overhead cam, and we're going to keep it aluminum. That'll help with weight. Unfortunately, again, we don't have all the cool components. We're just going to have to stick with forged stuff here, and we're going to have to raise the quality all the way up for this. There is no doubt about that. Of course it's going to be turbo, and it's going to be twin turbo in fact. This is the first twin turbo Bugo. This is going to be pretty fun actually. Let's put this up to an optimistic 1,500 horsepower. Let's put a race turbo on it. People were complaining about my use of race turbos before. Everything gets a race turbo. We'll go injection, we'll go EFI. Honestly, this is probably not the best. We might have to tweak this. And of course it's going leaded fuel. Now I did hear what people were saying before, that this is the best carburetor for power. Okay, yeah, you're correct there. It's 229 max power here. If we go injection, max power is 220 or 277. Okay, so injection does allow for higher power. Uh-oh. Okay, I've just realized that we might have hit an engineering issue here. Max power 277 does not sound good. We need 4 times that. Oh my goodness. Okay, it seems like the 1,000 horsepower might have been more of a dream than I had previously thought. We'll raise up the cam profile, even if it's the laggiest 1,000 horsepower. Okay, no, we're good. 379. We're getting there. But even if this is the laggiest 1,000 horsepower ever, we will still go with it. And we are up to an easy 500. Yeah, we definitely need to raise up the RPM limit here. And things are wanting to die, but again, we don't care about that too much. All expenses spared for this 1,000 horsepower. We're all about the number, not about the drivability on this build. Okay, I'm just going to raise the cam profile up all the way. That is a 571. All this stuff over here is dying because of high stress, but yeah, we'll just have to deal with that for now. Okay, we're going to need to turbo tune this one. Well, of course we are. Okay, the exhaust is restrictive though. That's probably what's bringing it down right now. I'm gonna put this up pretty high. I know we just lost a bit of power, but having that high is probably gonna help. I'm gonna raise these to be as big as they can be for now, and put that all the way up. And I know this is bad, but you'll see what I'll do in a second with this. And now slowly we lower the turbine until we hopefully get, wow, we're knocking really bad. Okay, only ways to fix knocking that we have left: lower the compression and raise the fuel mixture. There we go, that is 800 horsepower. Unfortunately, the conrods are indeed dying. So we'll quickly check to see what we made them out of. And they're lightweight forged. Let's go heavy. Okay, heavyweight has helped us. Lightweight is not going to work for this situation, but that is 800 horsepower out of this V6 twin turbo. Now we just need to get more. Like, that's the challenge here. Okay, stuff is wanting to die, but again, we are up to a classy 943 horsepower on this engine. If I raise the RPM limit any higher, all of this stuff dies, so it's going to be stuck there for now. Okay, so we got 943 using this setup, but I want to try the carburetor, and I don't know if this is going to be a good idea or not. Our fuel efficiency has gone down considerably. Let's go triple carburetor. Let's go race. We'll keep the 98. Oh, 953. Okay, that did help. If we keep this up, we might be able to do a little bit better, but the triple carb is coming in. Okay, again, our torque curve is terrible, but not really worried about it. Let's give it more fuel. That is 962 horsepower. I mean, turbos and carburetors don't usually work too well together, but we will continue to try here. One thing I haven't done is lower the air ratio, but it's very much tuned for that, so we'll just leave that there. And the max boost has been maxed, but we'll just leave that up as well. Oh, 960, 962. Nice. Okay, we're getting very, very close to this. Okay, 966. Getting closer. I just had to lower the exhaust size. Our compressor is still restrictive, but we can't make it any bigger, which is unfortunate. Turbine is there. I haven't messed with any of this for a while. Let's give this a little test. 970. 974. 977. Come on, 981. 85, we're 15 horsepower away. Oh, knocking. Okay, hold on. We can... 987 again. A little more compression. Ugh, it's not liking this, but we're almost there. We're gonna end up putting max fuel into it, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Oh no, 987. We're so close. This is taking quite a bit more tuning than I thought it would. But we are nearly there. Like, everything is almost maxed out. If I go any higher with this, it's, oh, 991, almost there. 9 horsepower away. Alright, we have to try it. Can we raise the RPM limit? Oh no, knocking, unfortunately. We'll just max out the fuel mixture again. 92,000. There we go. 1,000 horsepower engine. I'm gonna stop there. That's it for the engine. 1,000 horses. Lots of things wanting to die, but who cares, it's the Bugo. It took a lot of time, but we have managed to make it. There it is. Twin turbo V6. It's going to sit transverse in the Bugo, which means the turbo is probably going to be hanging out of it, and there's going to be another turbo as a passenger, but I'm loving it. Okay, let's go put this in the car and see what it actually looks like. Okay, so there's the Bugo as is. Now, one thing that I wanted to do with this build, I know we could take it a little more serious. We could widen it, we could lower it, we could do a lot of stuff like that. But for the sake of just having some fun, because that's pretty much what I'm all about here, these builds are not serious at all. So I'm basically just going to... Let's re-put that engine in there. Okay, no bonnet, and there's the engine right there. It actually fits within the engine bay of the Bugo. I did not think that it would, but it does. That one turbo is just hanging out, or it almost is. It's pretty much within the bumper there. That is pretty awesome. Now, obviously, this car is going to have drastic wheel spin issues. You can see there, it's struggling quite a bit. Wheel spin is 78.4%, and it's definitely going to spin in first, second, third, and fourth gear. What I want to do, let's put this up. We'll change this so it makes it a little bit better, theoretically better at least. We will mess with this, but we're not going to change the wheel size. We will just leave the wheels as is, the tiny wheels and 1,000 horsepower. So this new Bugo has a top speed, well, anticipated its top speed at the very least, of 344 kilometers an hour. We've gone up to 347. It's still going to be front wheel drive, manual, 5-speed. Spacing, probably best to lower that. However, we'll try to raise it a little bit. Yeah, it'll be able to help with acceleration a little bit. Problem is that this car wheel spins so much, it's going to be really hard to drive it. I'm going to have to be careful. Uh, Now, I said I would not change any of this, and I'm sticking by that. We will not change the wheels at all. And brakes, actually, the brakes are still good enough, so that's awkward, but we'll leave it. Apparently, we didn't really gain that much weight, and we're not going to bother with any of this either, and we'll just leave all that the same. And there you go, the new green Bugo, the Bugo 1000. Actually, you know what? Just for the sake of differentiating between the Bugos, let's add a little bit of a decal to this. All right, there we go. That's going to be it. So in summary, we have a 1000 horsepower twin turbo V6 front wheel drive version of the Bugo ready to take on the Bugo circuit. And I think I should take a little bit of time here to explain what's going on. Basically, I'm making a bunch of different Bugos because we're going to be doing a bit of a Bugo versus Bugo versus Bugo, and then as many Bugos as I intend to make. I'm not even sure how many that's going to be yet. But all of them are going to fight each other, and that's why I've decided that this one needs to have these wheels on it as well, just because the 1000 horsepower is a little OP in comparison to the 27 that the original Bugo has, so this one will hopefully be evened out by that significant defect. But let's give it a try, let's give it a test, let's see what it'll do around the track. So there are currently 4 types of Bugos in my mind. We have on the right in the red the original 30 horsepower Bugo. In the middle in the blue happens to be the turbo version of that, with modified wheels, and well, it's got a turbo on it. And then on the left in the blue we have the modular VFR with the original Bugo's engine, which, as we found out before, chassis matters a lot. It's actually faster than the turbo edition. But here we also happen to have the new and improved Bugo 1000, which comes with its own set of odd quirks. And I know what you're thinking, yes, maybe one day we will put the 1000 horsepower Bugo engine into the VFR and see what that does. But first, I want to show you what the new Bugo 1000 is all about. So starting up the engine, it sounds quite a bit different than your regular everyday Bugo. If we just take off, we have to take off nice and slow because, as you would suspect, this does not stop wheel spinning at all. I'm going to try to find a little bit more of an open area so we can demonstrate some of its capabilities, but let me just first show you its strong point. We'll shift into neutral, rev it all the way up, and yeah, this is it. It's constant burnouts, every single gear, ride the limiter, all the way until you hit 5th, and then something weird happens. It just dies. You see that? It just goes all the way down to under 3000 RPM. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but I suspect that it might have something to do with the durability issues of the parts and the shakiness of the camera. So nothing really new has been learned today. I mean, we kind of could have anticipated that a front-wheel drive car with tires specifically picked out for a 30 horsepower version would not fare so well on something that has 1000 horsepower. But the weird quirk that it has got me thinking, and I honestly am not 100% on why it would do that. Like, second gear is basically unused because the ratio just doesn't make sense, but 4th and 5th both have this odd issue. The car does not like to go above, I guess, 140 or so kilometers an hour, and I think it's worth just quickly testing it in the outskirts of the map here, just to see if I can get it past that. Like, it's theoretically supposed to do 300 and something, so I want to try and get it there really quick here. Just driving it for a second, I think I figured it out, but I want to show you. This is a mistake that I made when building it, but it's actually not that bad of a mistake because we're never going to get up to those speeds anyway. In the tracks that I'm using for these challenges, it's I'm just revving the heck out of it, and it's also dual exhaust, so one of them is just like flying in the air somewhere. It's just coming out the side. Anyway, so I want to demonstrate this mistake, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's just quickly go into 1st, and then into 2nd, and then into 3rd instantly. Those gears are super short, and then 4th is also very short, but here's the thing. 5 is a very tall gear, and that is the problem with it. You can't, like, once you get into 5, it has to go all the way from like 140 or so to over 300. It's a 200 horsepower range gear, and that's why. So it is able to get up to that speed. It's just going to take forever because the gear is so long. So yeah, that was a bit of my mistake there. Being only a 5-speed, it's not well proportioned. It's very heavily spaced for the front, and I should have put the spacing way down to fix it. But for the sake of this track, I know that this car is going to have such bad wheel spin issues just driving it that we are going to struggle. What you can do is you can downshift into 4th, you can even go down into 3rd, and then gain even more speed, but as soon as you go up into 5th, you just die in speed. So you really have to be going like very fast to even warrant 5th. You can see we got to the top of 4th there, and now we're slowly climbing once again. Actually, we're falling in speed right now. Uh-oh. But you can see we wheel spin at like 220 kilometers an hour in this. The Bugo is officially a beast. For the sake of our challenges, I'm going to ignore the 5th gear. I don't think it's really needed for this. It's just not going to work out for us. Unfortunate, but that's how it is sometimes with these weird builds. Okay, let's test this thing on the track. Alright, so here is the track that we're using for the Bugo testing. We've got the industrial site, the short race circuit, and the Bugo itself. Over here we have the current top of the leaderboard being the modular VFR Bugo. I suspect that that's probably going to hold this position for quite a while, despite its very thin wheels. It's the only non-Bugo chassis Bugo, so it's got an inherent advantage in that case. We also have the Bugo Sport here, and then this is the original Bugo here. So let's see what the Bugo 1000 will do. Alright, I've got it in realistic. I'm a little nervous for this one. It's probably going to take a few tries to get it right. But let's give it a shot. 2 laps. Here we go. I think the brakes are probably going to be adequate, but I'm more worried about the wheel spin than anything else. And I'm using realistic gearbox, so we're going to be banging gears constantly on this one. And I'm still... I haven't bought a wheel yet, but I am going to eventually. It's more of one of those things that's kind of been put on the sideline as a lot of other things have come up. It's just very busy right now, but soon I'll get there. Alright, let's get on with this one. Okay, massive wheel spin right out of the gate. We've gone into gear 3 and then into gear 4. Again, I'm going to ignore gear 5. Yeah, no, this is gonna be a challenge, but at least we're blending into the grass. Okay, so I'm gonna amp it up a little bit here. That was a mistake last time, as we basically just wheel spin our way around. I'm going to stick in 4th or possibly 3rd for this track. It seems like the best solution. Maybe we can go down to 2nd a few times, but 1st is just not even worth it. In some of the previous cars, we've been able to stick it out in 2nd gear for basically the entire track. It's a very short track. It's a go-kart track, basically. So the cars like this with 1,000 horsepower don't really work. However, one thing that I will say is this is completely undrivable. It is ridiculously bad. The handling is horrible. Okay, I'm going to stick in 2nd gear. I just want to do this next lap as a practice. We're going to redo this one more time. Just because this one is such a handful, I want to give it a fair shot at the track and not too much grass time as our previous lap. So we won't complete this one, I just want to practice. But, goodness. I think you can see what I mean, like, you turn the wheel and the car doesn't turn because it has so much power it just spins the wheels. But then, in order to get it to turn, you have to jam the handbrake. And then you can't get out of a handbrake turn because you don't have enough grip. So for this one, I'm going to attempt a much slower start. I'm not going to rev it up. I'm just going to shift it into 1 and then go nice and slow. Try and stay out of the wheel spin. And then I'm going to leave it in 2nd for the rest of the run. That seems like the only fair way to do this. Now, one big issue with this is, again, 1,000 horsepower isn't really being used. We're probably using like 200 of it, but we're spinning the wheels and burning off tires more than anything else. However, I must say I'm enjoying it. This is a lot of fun to drive. Even though it's terrible, it is a lot of fun. I would not want to do this for any autoflux games or anything like that, just because it's such a disaster. Like, it would be so much of a pain to do in any challenge, It reminds me a little bit of the F1 van that I made that was rear wheel drive. Like we made the wheels as big as I mean I made the wheels as big as they could be, but it just had no grip. The thing was it was really hard to drive in like the easiest of circumstances. Alright, so we are almost done with this lap with the Bugo 1000, and much less time has been spent in the grass, so I'm considering that to be a bonus. Looks like this is going to be a much shorter episode, but there we go, that is a 35-second run. Quite a bit faster, and actually that puts it... Oh, it is 1 second faster than the original Bugo, and a full, well, it's almost 10 seconds slower than the modular VFR. Yikes. I think the only thing I've really learned today is that this car is much better when you put it in second gear and when you just ignore first gear completely. That gear is so short that it's basically useless, but when you crash you can see the turbos hanging out, so I'm considering that to be a bonus. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm going to keep doing a few Bugo videos here and there. We won't continue with it every week, but I'm going to keep adding to the collection of Bugos as more ideas come up. Thank you for those who suggested this. Don't worry, I do have the modern Bugo on my radar. That's probably going to be next, unless I decide to switch it up. But yeah, I like doing these shorter videos on Tuesdays. It gives me a little bit more time to focus on the other one that comes out on Fridays. And yeah, look forward to that. So just a special thank you to those who chose to sponsor the channel. They are supporters and advanced supporters who hit the join button. Thank you very much. Specifically Will and Canadian Steel, thank you for your support. And yeah, that's it. See you on Friday for some more content. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but it might, well, be something a little bit different once again. I'm changing things up when it comes to builds, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit.